Hi AP Econ students, Mr. Mahler here, and in today's video we're going to be briefly talking about graphs in economics. Why do we use these graphs so often, and what are some important terms to know when we're trying to interpret graphs and see what they mean? Hope you're excited. I'm excited. Let's get started. Let's first talk about why we use graphs. Why in economics are we consistently trying to use these? I didn't like algebra very much, but why are we using all of these charts and slopes to analyze the effects of an economic theory? And that's because this helps us answer really difficult questions and get quantifiable data to justify a particular economic theory. So it's a quantitative science. Economics isn't just here's what I think and here's some analysis for it. In terms of writing, there has to be data to collect. And graphs do that because it helps us find a relationship between variables. And I don't need to read this. A variable is just something, a quantity that can take on more than one value. And when we have these and we see this raw data that we can collect as economists, we can then interpret it to make predictions or justify particular theories. So that's why graphs are used. It gives economists the raw data to analyze particular economic theory. Now there are a couple of graphing terms you need to know. I am not going to read these out because you are intelligent AP students. Also, most of you have taken Algebra 1, so you know what slope is and the formula on how to find it. Really just pay attention to the idea of a nonlinear and a linear relationship with the consistency of slope, as well as positive and negative correlations. Let's very briefly take a look at what some of these terms look like when graphs are used. So for instance, with this particular graph here, we're looking at a positive correlation because as one variable goes up, the other variable goes up. Obviously, as it gets hotter, you're going to want some cool drinks a little bit more. Whereas if we're looking at this negative correlation, as it gets hotter, you're not really going to want hot chocolate. So it's a negative correlation because as one variable goes up, the other variable goes down. If we're also looking at how that works out for slopes, we've got positive slopes because it's going up, negative slopes because it's going down with the variables. If you want to determine what the area of this section is, or this section, or this section, or for instance, if you are trying to analyze the deadweight loss of a tax on a particular good or service, or if you're trying to figure out what's the profit loss from a company because of a price floor or a price ceiling, you need to know the area or the formula to analyze a triangle and a rectangle. So this is the basic formula. And here's the basic formula for a triangle. We're going to be practicing this briefly in class just to make sure you can understand the information, because as we start moving on to further units, it's going to become more and more important to understand how to calculate a profit that is lost or a monetary value that is lost because of particular governmental or individual functions within an economy. So that's actually all there is for this video. It's really short, like I said, but we did want to touch base because there are some important terms you need to know when we're talking about graphs and economics. Well, hope you learned something you didn't know before. Thanks for watching.